All right, guys, so I just wanted to preface this with I know the audio is not the best. We just filmed this on an iPhone. We never planned this. Me and Hany, we were just hanging out after the finals. We were talking, and then we were just like, oh, we should probably record this because we're having a conversation about everything that happened. So this is just kind of like a bonus for the fans. We never have like cameras and microphones with us. We're like hanging out, eating pizza or drinking beer or whatever. And this was recorded at 4 a.m., by the way. So just a nice little bonus for you guys. But I think Hany really talks about a lot of good stuff here. I think you guys will really enjoy this one. This is him reacting to Hadi's victory and talking about the finals and giving his thoughts. So without further ado, here you guys go. All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power, and we're joined by Hany Rambod again for a recap of the finals. And it seems like our prejudging recap was pretty spot on. So before we get to the Hadi and Samson part, the top six, in sixth place you had Akeem Williams, which really surprised me.
Which I gotta pause there.
I want to ask you about this, the call out of the four of them, Hadi, Samson, Raphael, and Akeem.
Okay.
In your opinion, what was the point of that?
Well, let me tell you what I think happened. He got substantially better the second night.
For sure.
And then he was in the top four. But because of the averages, he
Right.
probably just didn't, that's why he didn't crack the top four. I think what you said, he was in sixth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why he was in sixth. But the call out, he was moved up to the top four.
So that's like a very substantial improvement from prejudging.
Absolutely,
the finals.
and also shout out to him. I spoke to him at the show because I did not mention him because I told him I forgot right after we shot the episode last night. Again, it was 2:30 in the morning and it's only 4 in the morning now. And it's after hours, guys. It is something that I wanted to shout out to him because he did an amazing job, not only coming in better tonight, but just even yesterday. And I did leave him out, and I didn't realize it until right after we got done shooting, that Akeem Williams, I thought he looked great even the first night, but he definitely looked even better. So all of that mass is starting to get chiseled, and super, happy for him because he was able to bring some pretty crazy amount of muscle with that new conditioning, which is very impressive.
So James Hollingshead in fifth and John De La Rosa in fourth. What did you think of them at finals? I thought John looked a lot better at prejudging than he did.
I
at
agree.
tonight's show.
I agree. I think John peaked at the prejudging,
Right.
and I think Hollingshead looked about similar.
About the same.
Yeah, about some little bit similar. But I be honest, it wasn't the matchup that obviously I was focused on was going to be back to Hadi and
Right.
Samson. And I think that Raphael just stood out to be in that solid third spot.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were saying, hey, they would like to see him next to Samson.
Well, that's what we were just talking about before we started this. Some people say they even had him over Samson in
Yeah,
the
that's what you were
second
saying.
place spot.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, and I think some people told me that as well in the auditorium, that they would have liked to see Samson be measured up tonight against Raphael Brando, and be a closer, it was a closer.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the three of
Matchup.
them doing the front lat spread, and I thought when you looked at Samson and you saw Raphael on the other side of that stage, Raphael looked a lot better to me in that front lat spread than Samson did. So I think it was a really good shot for him that probably strengthens that argument that he could have been higher. So let's talk about Hadi versus Samson.
Okay.
What do you think was the deciding factor here? I think it's pretty obvious, but in your words.
I mean, obviously, I would say conditioning,
Okay.
right? I think it's a conditioning thing, and I think that when you get to a certain level of conditioning and that graininess, number one, it becomes super impressive in those lights, and I think they had really good lighting,
Yeah.
and that was really, you could really see the graininess, the detail, the micro striations we call them, and you can see so much of that detail. So it really helped not only accentuate the graininess and the conditioning, but it also accentuated his shape.
Right.
And I think that's what Hadi had going for him. So it really helped with us continuing to bring down his waist, because that was the plan for this from the Olympia prep to Arnold prep, was to really bring down the waist, but still continue to keep that 3D muscle,
Right.
and to really etch in his back, because that's where I felt that, Derek obviously was really, taking it to Hadi last year at the Olympia, was on the back shots. So I think that his back has become even denser and with the more detail.
I think noticeably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with that more detail, that's when you can really notice, see
Right.
like, okay, now it's definitely catching up to the front side. Where at the Olympia, his front side and backside was, his backside was underwhelming compared to his front.
So let's start with Samson on this, because I want to talk about prejudging versus finals. Do you think Samson looked better or worse than he looked at prejudging here at the finals tonight? Did he look more? Did he tighten up at all, or did he fade?
I think he just looked a little bit fuller to me.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't think that's what he really needs.
Right.
Because I think it's when you're lacking conditioning, what you want to try to do is just come in tighter. But I think that it looked like to me, again, might not be the case, but it looked like to me that they tried to just come in a bit fuller. And so I didn't think it was a bad look, but I just think that it's just the missing link is for him to really chase down that conditioning.
So from your perspective as a coach, what do you think he's doing wrong? Because we've been talking about this for a while with Samson. It's just if he nails that conditioning just a little bit more than he already has.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, so it's really hard for me to say. Again, is it diet related? Is it training related? Is it cardio related? It's hard to say. Like when I work with somebody new and I'm somebody who has a conditioning issue, then you have to turn around and try to look at the blueprint that's being used and then try to figure out the flaws, right? Or things that could be done better, let's say. It's one of those things that you've got to turn around and create that architecture to say, how am I going to get 10%, 15% tighter in the next coming prep? And again, it could be, and usually is, multiple things. It's not just a, hey, let me up the cardio, or hey, let me change up the calories or the macros. It's usually a combination of several things.
So same question with Hadi, prejudging versus finals, better or worse at finals?
Different look. In terms of tighter, I think he was, again, stride him out even further from the previous day. He just got a little more tighter and a little bit more dense. I think a little less full, but did get even grainier through all the muscle, especially through his chest and his legs. And then his midsection even came in even tighter.
I agree. Yeah.
And so that's when his intercostals really formed, and he was able to really vacuum tight. And then when he did blow out from the vacuum into his ab poses, he had those really defined blocked abs that are his signature trait right now. And so, in the past, they were saying he was starting to get a little bit blocky, so we made some changes on that end to be able to really try to accentuate that V-taper more.
So he's for sure going to the UK show, right?
Well, no, it's not a for sure thing because there's still more paperwork. So unfortunately, again, the Iranian passport isn't accepted worldwide like American Express or Visa, MasterCard. We have issues with it. And, again, pardon my shitty jokes at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it's because it's going to fall on me because I'm the one that's going to have to put it together here to get him another visa or a visa to the UK here in the coming week. But if we can get that, and hopefully we do, then we'll be off to the UK.
So if he does go to the UK, we've got this rematch between him and Samson. What did you learn from this battle that you're going to apply to that rematch that you think would be to his advantage?
To Hadi's advantage?
Yeah.
I think that what we're going to do is what I do, and again, I don't have to do this that often because we don't usually compete back to back.
Right. This is a rare thing for Hadi too.
Yeah, it's a rare thing for any of my athletes, to be honest with you, because most of my athletes are just doing the Olympia and then they're done. So I don't have to stress so much. And that's why I'm bald, because all the hair has just jumped off my head. I think that the way that I look at it is to go, okay, well, now we've looked at 3 different looks. We have the Olympia look, bigger, could be in better shape. Then you had your prejudging look from last night, and then you have a drier, tighter look, but not quite as much volume per se. So now it's just a matter of seeing where your body wants to go, because what we'll do now is just kind of reset his metabolism, give him food, get him fluids back up, try to get his body reset, and then we'll see kind of where it kind of shifts and where it's going to stay for this following week. Then from what I'll do from there is then just decide on what's possible, because you can't just say, hey, I want to go carbon copy this look. You have to try to get it there and manipulate it there in a way where the muscles don't end up flattening out too much or weird kind of things tend to happen where you could end up having a lot of drop in weight, or something ends up happening where you, like I said, lose body parts. So you got to just balance things out. So you got to just kind of fill back up again, and then you just gotta kind of go from there.
So if he does the UK, from then on out, is it just straight into the Olympia?
Yes.
So
yes.
Nothing else. I saw that Dubai show.
Oh,
up.
dude, yeah.
100 grand for first place. That's pretty intense.
I know.
Well, speaking of which, what do you think about the announcement tonight? $500,000 for next year's Arnold Classic.
Where did that
first
come
place. From? It's crazy. What do you think the ramifications of that are going to be for the Olympia?
I don't know. I think maybe,
they're going to have to raise the bar a little bit.
They might have to. I mean, naturally, the Olympia has always been the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, and it still is. But I think that you may see the Olympia step up and try to raise it above what the Arnold announces. I mean, if that does happen, it's good for the athletes. The athletes are, these guys want to go head to head to say, hey, who has the highest prize money? Who wins? The athletes win.
Well, I know it's a little premature now, but after seeing that announcement, is Hadi going to defend his title next year?
Oh, I'm sure that's what he's thinking now. I mean, he was hoping to, with all the translation, he was like, are they raising it this year? He was hoping that he was going to get an extra 200 grand tonight.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you is, what did Hadi have to say after he won? What was his feeling about what happened and his experience after the Olympia? Obviously, we talked about he probably had a chip on his shoulder. So how does he feel now, having really, I think, significantly redeemed himself at this show?
I think there's a lot of different emotions that went on. The first emotion was he didn't want to speak about what he was going to bring. He wanted to show it. And he discussed that on an interview right after the finals, and that I was in translating for him. He said that what it really means to him for winning the Arnold is that it's an accomplishment. It's like similar to graduating, where he elevated. And the way that he was trying to basically explain this was that he elevated his physique to another level. He feels, where he was able to come up with a phone. Maybe it's like one of your Pokemon guys, He's like, it's the evolution of Hadi Chopin, and to come in with the kind of size that his new size with his old conditioning, and I think that's what he was very excited about.
So how confident are you now going back into the Olympia that Hadi has a shot at regaining his title?
Oh, I think, everybody knows that, including Derek. I mean, Derek was backstage too, hugging Hadi, and was very excited for him. Yeah.
Derek was sitting a couple rows in front of me at the finals.
Was he?
He looked pretty intensely interested in what was happening on stage when it was Hadi versus Samson.
Yeah, I think that obviously right now we're kind of it's ending up being Hadi versus Derek 3. They're 1-1 now. Right?
It's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Yeah. So this is the third rendition of this. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, like I was telling you last night, Derek is now going to evolve, and Derek's younger than Hadi, and he has yet to kind of hit his apex or his peak. And so I feel like he's just starting to put on that new muscle maturity. So he has a lot of improving to do, and so he's got that amount of growth and that amount of that muscle maturity is going to make his body look much grainier as he continues to keep holding on to that new muscle.
Well, I guess this is the next thing I would ask you is Derek interested now in the Arnold next year? This $500,000, I don't think people understand in the world of bodybuilding for prize money. That is extremely significant. So even if Derek wasn't previously interested in doing the Arnold and just wanted to defend his Olympia title and that's it, that's a pretty substantial amount of money.
Well,
I mean, have you talked to him since the announcement?
Yeah. So he was backstage with us, and one of the first things that came out of his mind, he was like, "Holy moly, 500 grand! That's hard to leave on the table." And I said, "Sure is." And so, I mean, I think everybody's interested now.
It's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter whether, in the past you'd be like, okay, I won the Olympia. Now you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, I won the Olympia, but now I can win the Arnold. So now you could have a possible $1 million purse.
Yeah, for 2 shows.
For 2 shows.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so.
Do you think the Olympia is going to bump it up?
I don't know. I mean, you could look at it 2 ways. The powers that be that might just say, hey, look, this is where we're at, so we're comfortable with.
Or they can say,
it is what it is, and this is what we have in the budget, just like any business. Or you could turn around and say, okay, well, guess what? No, we are the big dogs on the block, and now it almost becomes like a bidding war, right?
Well, I think they have to address one of the two things, because one of them was the free live stream, and the other one was bumping up the prize money, I think intentionally, beyond the Olympia. I feel like one of those two
100,000.
yeah. So I think the Olympia has to address one of them with their next either stream or prize money.
Oh, I think they're going to probably do both. I think they're going to address it one way or the other for both of those subjects.
Which is a win-win, because the athletes win, because like you said, $1 million between two shows, and then the fans win because now the top two shows, they could get a free live stream.
Yep.
So it'd be awesome.
Honestly, I remember, because think of it this way: you know who wins at the end? The athletes, and that's what I love, because there was a long time where the Arnold was at 100 grand. But Arnold did do things to go out of his way, like he gave the H1, the H2, then eventually became the H3, and the watches and really cool stuff. But and then the Olympia, started raising up the prize money from the 100,000 that was around forever that Dorian was making, and then it became whatever 150, 200 for a while, and then now it's at $400,000 for the first place trophy. I think that. And then even smaller shows like the Dubai Pro, $100,000.
Crazy,
dude. That's great. And then I saw that the men's classic is getting actually more than the Olympia, $60,000. So that
they deserve it though. They're winning all around.
Yeah, and look, I don't know. My thing was always saying that classic and men's physique, there should be a higher amount of money being given to the classic guys than the men's physique guys.
Sure.
Because they're showing more of their body. They have to. They're doing more posing. They're doing. There are many more poses involved. So I do think that should go up. But again, as long as the athletes are going to be taken care of, that's what I care about the most.
All right, cool. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
I appreciate your insight. And again, subscribe to Hany's channel, just Hany Rambod, 636,000 subscribers as of
Am I
today.
up?
Yeah.
Did you just make that up?
No, I think that's exactly what you're at.
Oh, and you didn't get it up.
And Hany said you guys didn't like the microphone, the audio in the last video. So this time we're not using those cheap little lapel mics. And hopefully this sounds better. I'm going to run it through Audacity and edit it a little bit. But Hany told me that, so you can thank him if this audio sounds better.
Yes, I did, and I went back and I looked at some of the comments, and some of you, or I think at least one of you, thought that I looked like I smoked weed.
He's not stoned.
No, actually, I've never smoked weed in my life, but whether you believe me or not, but no, it's just 4 o'clock in the morning.
It is 4 in the morning.
There you go. It's 4:06 a.m. and I'm here.
He's doing this for you guys. He's not stoned. He's tired as hell.
Yes, I'm exhausted. I was doing an IV earlier today before finals. It made me feel like $1 million. That's why I was actually still able to come up here and do this after feeding Hadi his cheat meal before he goes back on his diet tomorrow.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and again, check out Hany's channel.
Yep.
Thank you guys. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.